If you've ever finished a week just completely exhausted, but you look back and feel like you accomplished nothing truly important, that unsettled feeling, it points to a really uncomfortable truth, that time, not our talent, is often the real bottleneck to being an effective leader.
That feeling is almost epidemic among high achievers. And what's so interesting is that leaders, they almost never lose their impact in one big dramatic crisis.
Right.
It's lost in the small moments, the unexamined minutes, the reactive choices you make every single day. The pace of change now is just relentless. And real leadership mastery, as our sources point out, isn't about doing more. It's about choosing where to invest your time.
Okay, so we're ready to move beyond just, the standard productivity hacks and to-do lists today.
Yeah, this is bigger than that.
This deep dive is about a framework that really shifts your whole perspective. We're treating time not just as something you manage, but as something you steward with real intention.
And that's the core of it. It forces you, the listener, to face this foundational question from all the research. If your time is truly one of your greatest leadership talents, how differently would you actually treat it?
That's a powerful question.
It is. If you gave it the same rigor as your budget or your talent pipeline, everything would change.
So let's start right there with that shift. Managing versus stewarding.
Okay.
To me, when you manage time, you're just checking boxes. It's often a schedule someone else has kind of imposed on you. But stewarding, that feels different.
It's an investment. You're investing a finite, precious resource. The sources are so clear on this. Every unintentional yes, every meeting you take just because it popped up,
Right.
that comes at a cost. It costs you potential growth somewhere else.
And that cost isn't just personal, is it? It's cultural.
Oh, profoundly cultural. A leader's time habits, they're like a blueprint for the entire organization. Well, if you're always reactive, always stressed, your team just mirrors that. Your behavior really determines whether your people get to thrive in clarity or just struggle under this constant, confusing sense of urgency.
So the sources we're looking at, they try to give this a philosophical anchor, treating time as what they call a divine endowment. And look, whether you come at this from a theological angle or a purely secular business one, the point is the same. Right?
Exactly the same.
Right.
Time is a resource with intrinsic value. It's not just a commodity to be bought or sold. It's finite. It's non-renewable.
There was this one image from the sources that really stuck with me.
The vase of sand?
The vase of sand, yeah. Filled with sparkling sand, and every grain is a moment of your life. Once it falls, it's just gone forever.
It's such a powerful image, and it's not meant to create stress, but to really underscore the gravity of it all. You should be asking, did I spend that grain wisely?
It's ancient wisdom, really. That famous prayer, teach us to number our days. It's not about counting, is it?
No, not at all. It's a plea for perspective.
A perspective that gives each day meaning.
Exactly. And that perspective is what helps leaders tell the difference between Chronos and Kairos.
Okay, let's break that down. Chronos is the easy one.
That's the clock ticking, sequential time. It's the calendar, the minutes passing, it's what we manage. But Kairos.
Kairos is different.
Kairos is the powerful one. It's opportune time, a moment of strategic significance, a critical window of opportunity.
So Chronos is the flight schedule, but Kairos is that one specific window to, say, launch a new product, or maybe fire a toxic employee before they ruin morale.
Precisely. The most effective leaders, they manage Chronos with ruthless efficiency, clearing out the clutter, automating routines for one reason, to create the space they need to see and seize those Kairos moments. If you're buried in email, you will miss them every time.
Which brings us from the philosophical to the psychological, because our experience of time is, well, it's totally subjective, isn't it?
It's wildly subjective. The clock ticks 60 seconds, but our perception of that minute can stretch or shrink completely based on how we're feeling.
And that's a huge point for leaders. Time flies when you're in that flow state, right?
Absolutely. But if you see time as constantly scarce, always overwhelming, that mindset itself creates anxiety and burnout, even if you have the same 24 hours as everyone else.
And nothing creates that scarcity feeling like the tyranny of the urgent. We all know the Eisenhower matrix, but the source material really digs into why we get stuck in that first quadrant.
Yeah.
The urgent and important stuff. The crises.
And the trap isn't that we don't know about Quadrant 2. The important but not urgent things like planning, mentoring, real strategic work, we all know we should be there.
So what is the trap?
It's psychological. When you solve a crisis in Q1, you get an instant high-octane hit of dopamine.
Right. You feel necessary, you feel like a hero.
Exactly. You feel productive. And that feeling reinforces the behavior. It's addictive.
So we get hooked on the quick win of putting out fires instead of the long, quiet satisfaction of actually preventing them in the first place.
100%. And that Q1 addiction, it ties right into procrastination, which, as the research shows, is almost never about being lazy.
It's about fear.
It's about deep psychological hurdles, fear of failure, sometimes fear of success, or just paralyzing perfectionism. All of those things push us away from the messy, long-term work in quadrant 2 and back into the comfort of what's screaming for our attention right now.
Which comes back to mindset. How does a leader break out of that trap?
By consciously choosing an abundance mindset over a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Scarcity views time as constantly running out. It leads to stress, to hoarding responsibilities because, no one can do it as well as I can.
Which leads to micromanaging.
Total micromanaging. The leader is always running on empty, and if you're always telling yourself there isn't enough time, you force yourself to become the bottleneck for every decision.
Where's the abundance mindset?
The abundance mindset trusts that the time allotted is sufficient for the work that truly matters. It's a mindset that allows for genuine delegation, for calm, for intentionality. It's this quiet confidence that you have enough time as long as you protect it.
We also have to talk about decision fatigue, the sheer mental energy costs of leadership.
It's so real. Every single choice, what to wear, which email to open first, how long a meeting should be, it all consumes mental energy.
And for a leader whose day is just packed with high-stakes decisions, that fatigue builds up fast.
It does, and it leads directly to poor, impulsive choices, especially late in the day. And the solution isn't just taking more breaks, it's aggressively automating the routine decisions.
Give me a concrete example. How does a leader automate something like that?
You look for the small, repetitive points of friction. For example, you just mandate that all standard meetings are 30 minutes, no discussion. That's the rule.
So you remove the decision.
You remove the decision. Or you create an email template for common requests. Better yet, you automate the timing of it. You decide, I only check and respond to email at 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. That's it.
And that frees up all that mental energy you were spending context switching every time a notification popped up.
You got it. You save your high-quality thinking for the high-stakes choices that actually need your judgment.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So now we're moving from mindset to action. The top strategy from the source material is proactive scheduling, or time blocking. This means you're treating your calendar as a blueprint, not just a reactive list of appointments.
Time blocking is the practical tool that protects your quadrant 2 work. For leaders, there are 4 key steps. First, you schedule your big rocks first.
The non-negotiables.
Your non-negotiables. Spiritual disciplines, family time, rest, and your deep work blocks. If it's not on the calendar, it effectively doesn't exist. Second, you map your energy cycles.
Right, so you do your hardest thinking when you're at your sharpest.
Exactly. Don't waste your peak morning hours on low-value tasks.
Well, and what are the other 2 steps?
Third is batching similar tasks. We mentioned email, but this works for everything. 1 block for all your phone calls, 1 block for all your team check-ins. You minimize the mental cost of switching gears.
Okay, and the 4th?
This is the most important one. You treat your deep work blocks, 2 to 4 hours of intense, undistracted focus, as sacred. They are non-negotiable appointments with yourself. No phone, no email, no interruptions. That is where you create true value.
And of course, time blocking only works if a leader can strategically delegate.
It's the linchpin. The sources frame delegation as multiplication. It's an investment in your people, and it is the single best way to prevent your own burnout.
But so many leaders get this wrong.
They do. They delegate tasks, but they don't delegate authority. And even worse, they fall prey to reverse delegation.
Explain that. What's reverse delegation?
It's when a team member brings you a problem that they should be solving, and instead of coaching them through it, you take the problem back.
Because it's faster.
It's always faster in the moment. It feels more efficient. If I can solve it in 5 minutes, and it'll take them 20.
That sounds like a waste of my Chronos to make them do it.
That's the scarcity mindset talking again. It's a short-term win for a long-term loss because you're training them to bring every future problem right back to your desk.
And you become the bottleneck again.
You become the bottleneck. The wise leader, when a problem is brought to them, asks one simple question: what do you suggest we do? It shifts the ownership right back where it belongs.
The sources point to the story of Nehemiah as a case study in this. Rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem.
Oh, it's a masterclass in time stewardship under extreme pressure.
Yeah.
First, he didn't just rush in. He used prayer and discernment, that's Kairos, before he took a single step. Then he used strategic planning, Chronos, meticulously assessing the damage, securing resources from the king,
Well,
all before the first stone was laid.
and his delegation was brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. He assigned specific, manageable sections of the wall to different families. He gave them clear ownership. This decentralized the decision-making and sped everything up. And then, when his opponents tried to distract him with meetings,
He had that famous line.
I am doing a great work and I cannot come down.
That is the essence of protecting your deep work block right there.
It is. His focus was absolute. And the result of stewarding his Chronos and seizing that Kairos moment, the walls were rebuilt in an astonishing 52 days.
Which really demonstrates that when you get this wrong, the costs are huge. They go way beyond just missing a deadline. They damage relationships. They poison the culture.
The relational toll is often the deepest. When a leader is always late, always canceling, it sends a very clear message that other people's time isn't as valuable as theirs.
That's the erosion of trust.
And when you overcommit, that unfinished work gets pushed downstream onto your team, which creates this deep sense of resentment.
And then the whole organization starts to model that chaos. You get this toxic culture where being busy is a badge of honor.
That's right. People start to feel guilty if they take a lunch break or leave on time. It creates a reactive, firefighting culture that's stuck in quadrant 1 forever. It's a direct path to burnout for everyone.
Which brings us to the ultimate countercultural strategy, the Sabbath principle. The sources reclaim rest not as a luxury, but as a core leadership discipline.
It's rooted in the original design of creation, a rhythm of work and rest. And observing a Sabbath in our culture is a radical act.
How so?
It actively fights against the idolatry of productivity. It challenges the myth that we are irreplaceable. When you stop, you are exercising trust that the world won't fall apart without you for a day.
And it's not just about not working on a Sunday, is it? The sources define 3 parts to it.
Yes. First is ceasing, literally stopping all productive work. Then there's resting, which is about renewal of your body and spirit. And finally, delighting, actively enjoying God, creation, your relationships.
And if you neglect that rhythm,
it doesn't just make you tired. It leads to spiritual dryness. And for a leader, it severely impairs your discernment. If your schedule has no room for stillness, your ability to spot those Kairos moments just disappears.
So to wrap up our deep dive, we've gone from psychological awareness, that shift from scarcity to abundance, all the way to strategic actions like time blocking and delegation, and finally to cultivating health through renewal. It's about moving from frantic busyness to purposeful, sustained impact.
And it's so important to remember this isn't a one-time fix. It's a continuous journey, a pursuit of aligning your measurable Chronos with those moments of strategic Kairos. It requires constant learning and adapting.
We want to leave you with one final practice to consider, and it's drawn directly from this material, the personal retreat. We see in the Gospels that Jesus frequently withdrew to quiet places to pray, especially before big decisions or after intense periods of ministry. So what if scheduling that kind of intentional seclusion, a full day, maybe 2 every quarter, what if that's actually necessary for you to gain clarity, to spot those Kairos opportunities and recalibrate your vision? That time of stillness might just be the single greatest investment you make in your long-term effectiveness.